Oh, no, Miss Louisa.
But surely you must have some.
No. No food, no cooks to dress it, no servants to wait, nothing. We do not even have knives and forks. There's no need for them, you see.
Oh, you're mocking us, I know it.
No, the life is very hard. We eat only when we put into some port.
But supposing... Oh, he is mocking us, Henrietta.
Not at all, I assure you. When we sailors go ashore, we eat as much as possible, because we never know when we'll have the chance to eat again.
Oh, Miss Anne, if it had pleased heaven to spare my poor son, I dare say he would have been just like Captain Wentworth by now.
I dare say he would, Mrs. Musgrove.
He was such a promising lad, and so good-natured.
Here we are, Henrietta. If Captain Wentworth won't be serious with us, we can find out for ourselves what ships he has commanded. Well, the first was the Asp. I remember. Look up the Asp. Asp. A beginning. A-S-R-R-S.
You won't find her in the Navy list.
What?
She was quite worn out. She's been broken up. I was the last man to command her.
Oh. Why?
Oh, she was barely fit for service even when I had her. Afterwards, they said she was good for home service for a year or two, but that was all.
Barely fit for service? And yet you were put in command of her? How was that?
Oh, the Admiralty amuse themselves now and again by sending a few hundred men to sea in an unseaworthy ship.
What?
Well, they have a great many men to find ships for, you know. And thousands of them might just as well go to the bottom as not.
Oh.
It is impossible for the Admiralty to distinguish the few who might be missed.
For what stuff these young fellows talk. Never was a better sloop than the Asp in her day.
Oh, but Admiral, Captain Wentworth says that she was barely fit for service.
Nonsense. For an old-built sloop, you would never see her equal. He was the lucky fellow to get her.
Surely if she was barely fit for service...
He knows very well there must have been 20 better men than he applying for her at the same time. He was a lucky fellow to get anything.
But there, Captain Wentworth...
I felt my luck, Admiral, I assure you. I was as well pleased with my appointment as you could wish. That was the year 6. I was very anxious at that time to be at sea. Very anxious indeed. I wanted to be doing something.
To be sure you did. What would a young fellow like you do ashore for half a year together? If a man has no wife, he soon wants to be afloat again.
Oh, but you must have been vexed, Captain Wentworth, when you arrived on the Asp and found what an old thing they'd given you.
Oh, she was a dear old Asp to me. She did what I wanted, and I knew she would.
What was that?
Well, I knew that we should either go to the bottom together, or she'd be the making of me.
And she was?
Oh, yes. I never had 2 days foul weather all the time I was at sea with her. And after taking enough privateers for it to be very entertaining, I had the good luck on my passage home the next autumn to fall in with the very French frigate I wanted.
So you took her?
Yes, and I brought her into Plymouth. Now, here's another instance of good luck. We had not been in the Sound 6 hours when a gale came up, which lasted 4 days and nights. Would have done for poor old Asp in half the time.
How terrifying.
Yes, 24 hours later, and I should have been no more than gallant Captain Wentworth in a small paragraph in the corner of a newspaper. Nobody would have thought much of me being lost in only a sloop.
And so then I suppose he went away to Laconia, and there he met with my poor boy. Charles, do tell Captain Wentworth he need not be afraid of mentioning poor Dick in front of me. It would be rather a pleasure to hear him talked of by such a good friend.
Now the Laconia, Louisa, look up the Laconia.
Here, let me see if I can find her for you.
Oh, do, please.
Here we are. Laconia, 38 guns, now out of commission. She was one of the best friends a man ever had, too.
I am sure, sir, it was a lucky day for us when you were put captain into that ship. We shall never forget what you did.
My brother. And Mamma is thinking of poor Richard.
Would have been a happy thing if he'd never left you. I assure you, Captain Wentworth, we are only sorry he ever left you.
Ah, yes, Mrs. Musgrove. Your son, Richard. My midshipman.
He improved so much while you were his captain. You were such a good influence on him.
Oh, you give me more credit than is my due, I assure you.
You know, Frederick, if you'd been a week later at Lisbon last spring, you would have been asked to give a passage to Lady Mary Grierson and her daughters.
Oh, would I? Then I'm glad I was not a week later.
What? Are you so ungallant, then?
I hope not. But I would never willingly allow any ladies on board any ship of mine. Except for a ball or a few hours' visit.
Oh, but Captain Wentworth, why? Do you hate ladies so much?
On the contrary, Miss Musgrove. It's simply that I feel it is not possible, whatever one's efforts and for all one's sacrifices, to make accommodations on board ship suitable for women.
Frederick!
Well, it's true.
Pooh, it's all idle refinement. Women can be as comfortable on board ship as in the best house in England.
Of course they can't, Sophie.
I believe I've lived on board ship as much as most women. I know nothing superior to the accommodations of a man-of-war.
Really, Mrs. Croft?
Yes, I declare I have no comfort or indulgence about me, even at Kellynch Hall, beyond what I've always had in most of the ships I've lived in.
And how many have you lived in, Mrs. Croft?
5 altogether. I hate to hear Frederick talking like a fine gentleman, and as if women were all fine ladies instead of rational creatures. We none of us expects to be on smooth waters all our days.
Indeed not, ma'am, indeed not.
Ah, my dear, when Frederick has a wife, he will sing a different tune.
Yes, we shall see about him then.
When he is married, and if we have the good luck to live through another war, we shall see him do as you and I, Sophia, and a great many others have done. He will be very thankful to anyone who brings him his wife.
Aye, he will.
Well, now I have done. Once married people begin to attack me with, "Oh, you will think differently when you are married," I can only say, "No, I shall not." And when they say, "Yes, you will," there's an end of it.
What a great traveller you must have been, ma'am. Pretty well, ma'am, in the 15 years of my marriage. Though many women have done more.
Oh,
I've crossed the Atlantic 4 times.
Oh, bless me.
And I've been to the East Indies and back again once, but only once. Besides being in different places about home, Cork and Lisbon and Gibraltar.
Gibraltar.
But I never went beyond the Straits, and I've never been to the West Indies. We do not call Bermuda and Bahama the West Indies, you know.
Oh, no.
And I can assure you, ma'am, that nothing could exceed the accommodations of a man-of-war. I speak, you know, of the higher rates.
Yes, of course, the higher one.
When you come to a frigate, of course, you are more confined, though any reasonable woman may be perfectly happy in one.
I'm sure she may.
I can safely say that the happiest part of my life has been spent on board ship. As long as we were together, ma'am, nothing ever ailed me, and I never met with the smallest inconvenience.
Aye, to be sure. Oh, yes, indeed. I'm quite of your opinion, ma'am.
Anyone can see that yours has been a very happy marriage, Mrs. Croft.
So long as I've been with the Admiral, I've not complained.
There is nothing so bad as separation, ma'am. I'm quite of your opinion. I know what it is. But Mr. Musgrove always attends the assizes. And I'm so glad when they're over and he's safe back again.
What was that? What did you say, my dear?
I'm just telling Mrs. Croft how glad I am when you come back from the assizes, my dear.
Yes, I do believe you are, my dear.
Papa, may we dance now?
A dance? Why, yes, I'm sure we'd all enjoy watching you dance, Henrietta.
I'm going to play for you.
Oh, would you, Anne?
Yes, of course.
Dancing. We're going to have a ball, a little private ball.
Miss Anne is so kind. She always plays for my daughters.
She does not say very much.
She's usually silent.
Perhaps her eloquence lies in her fingers. I like musical people.
So do I. I sometimes think unmusical people are capable of every sort of wickedness. It should be a crime to have no ear.
To be sure, Admiral, I'm quite of your opinion. It should be.
Miss Musgrove, may I have the pleasure of a dance with you?
Yes, Captain Wentworth, you may. Oh. Indeed, you shall have the first one. Oh, but I claim the second.
So I shall have to make do with the third, I suppose.
Mary, you are not an unmarried girl.
I don't see what difference that need make in a family party.
Well, I claim my precedence for the first dance, my love. You can fight over Captain Wentworth with Louisa afterwards.
Does Miss Elliot know the dance?
Oh, no. No, she's quite given up dancing. She'd rather play.
I see.
Anne never tires of playing for us, you know.
Not so ungallant as he likes to pretend.
No, indeed, ma'am.
What Frederick needs is a wife.
Exactly.
Now it is my turn with you, Captain Wentworth.
Oh, please, remember, I'm only a sailor. You must not dance me off my feet.
Play us that tune you mentioned. Or perhaps Anne knows it.
There. No. That's it. Or something like it, at least.
Do you know that tune, Anne?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
I beg your pardon, madam. This is your seat.
Not at all, sir.
Oh, do play it again. I'm sure Anne will know it.
No, no. It is our turn to dance.
Oh, on with the ball.
Oh, well done, very well done. On with the ball.
A partir de aquel momento, vi a Michael el tren con demasiada frecuencia. La salud del pequeño enfermo mejoraba notoriamente y no me permitía ausentarme de las reuniones, comidas, etcétera, con que los Musgrove obsequiaban a los nuevos vecinos de Kelly, ni de las invitaciones corteses con que estos respondían a tan amable trato.
Si Dios nos hubiera llevado a mi pobre hijo Dick, sería ahora como él.
Pero ¿cómo es posible que en un barco se puedan tener tantas comodidades?
Ya lo he explicado. Contamos con un excelente cocinero.
¿Cocinero? ¿Has oído, María?
Y camareros, empleados, y cuchillos y tenedores. Siempre me ha hecho gracia la ignorancia de las mujeres con respecto a la vida de a bordo.
¿Siempre? ¿Ha ocurrido ya otras veces? Capitán, nos dijo que no frecuentaba el trato femenino.
No demasiado. Pero en otro tiempo una mujer solía hacerme las mismas ingenuas preguntas.
¿Qué misteriosa mujer era esa, Capitán Trent?
Aquí está el catálogo de la Marina. Veamos sus barcos, capitán. Gracias. Ajá.
El primero fue el Aspid.
Veamos.
No lo encontrará ahí. Está ya destruido. Fui yo su último capitán. Ya en muy mal estado lo mandé en las Indias Occidentales.
Pero es posible que con un barco viejo...
En el almirantazgo se entretienen enviando al mar cientos de hombres en un barco inservible. Disponen de tanta gente que es innecesario seleccionar la que menos importa que se ahogue.
Estos muchachos no saben lo que dicen. En su tiempo no hubo mejor bergantín que el Aspid. Fuiste un hombre afortunado al toparte con semejante barco tan pronto. Sobre todo no dejando a nadie detrás de ti.
Bendije mi suerte, almirante. Se lo aseguro. Aquel destino fue para mí casi la salvación. Tenía yo entonces un gran deseo de ir al mar. Un gran deseo.
¿Una historia de amor desgraciado?
Necesitaba ocuparme de algo.
Y lo llevaste a cabo, en efecto. ¿Qué hacía un muchacho como tú en tierra ya casi medio año? Perdiendo el tiempo en casa de tu hermano el párroco. Un marino que no tiene mujer necesita volver al agua enseguida.
Así lo hice, almirante. Llegué a mi barco con impaciencia, convencido de que nos hundiríamos los dos o de que en él me haría un hombre. Aquello debía de ser por el...
1806. Lo supongo porque era poco después de irse usted de Montfort.
Efectivamente, en 1806. En aquel tiempo tenía yo grandes prisas por hacer fortuna. Y la suerte me favoreció. Después de capturar bastantes piratas para entretenerme, regresaba a la patria cuando me encontré con la rica fragata francesa que tanto anhelaba. Bueno, creo que les estoy aburriendo con mis historias.
Nada de eso, al contrario.
Bien, en ese caso continúo. Una vez capturada la presa, la arrastré hasta tierra. no puedes dejarme marchar sin ninguna esperanza.
Michael, yo
No digas nada, si es solo por consolarme.
no puedo prometerte otra cosa.
¿Sabes lo que es el mar para un marino? Un feroz consuelo o una inmensa desesperación. No temas. Quisiera poder decirte que voy a buscar la muerte, que tu rechazo me hace odiar la vida. Pero no es así. Deseo volver un día, hacer fortuna y buscar dentro de ti si aún queda algo de estos meses.
Por favor.
Eres tú la que suplica. Me parece increíble. Hasta ahora he sido yo quien me ha puesto siempre a tus pies.
No basta.
Lo sé. No es bastante.
He querido decir...
Te he comprendido. Me es imposible luchar contra tu padre, tu apellido y tus privilegios. Sois toda la historia de Inglaterra. ¿Y quién soy yo? Un pobre marino en espera de barco.
No se trata de eso.
¿De qué entonces? Ana. Ana, por favor. Tú me quieres. Sé que me quieres. Contéstame. Si es así, ¿por qué no mantienes tu criterio?
No puedo contra todos.
Tu padre.
Y la señora Russell. Y mi hermana Isabel. Todos. No es imposible. No puedo. No puedo.
De haber seguido mi impulso 24 horas más tarde, yo hubiera sido un bizarro capitán tren en un suelto de un periódico. Y nadie se hubiera acordado de mí por haber muerto en un simple bergantín.
Ana, ¿te encuentras mal?
¿Qué te pasa?
¿Qué tienes? Por favor, no es nada. Un poco de aire fresco me sentará bien. No quiero interrumpir.
Te acompañaré.
Y fue entonces, supongo, cuando usted pasó a Laconia.
Sí, fue entonces.
Y allí conoció a nuestro hijo Dick. ¿No es eso, Capitán Tren?
Do you suppose we live on board without anything to eat? Or any cooks, any servants, or any knife and fork to use? We ain't savages. Now, let me tell you about the Asp, my first command. We sailed away on the Asp in the year 1806.
We have a navy list. We shall look her up.
They made me send for it, Captain. You're from Plymouth. Well, you won't find it in the new list, I'm afraid. She's been broken up for scrap. Yes, I was the last man to command her 8 years ago, and she was hardly fit for service then. Nearly sank on several occasions, the Asp. Then I should have only been a gallant Captain Wentworth in a small paragraph at the bottom corner of a newspaper, and you'd never have heard of me.
Yet still you took her out? Oh, my word.
Well, the Admiralty likes to entertain itself now and then by sending a few hundred men to sea on a ship hardly fit to be employed.
Well said. Lucky fella to get her. Lucky fella to get anything so soon.
No, I felt my luck, I assure you. Well, I was well satisfied with the position. I was extremely keen at the time, in the year 6, to be at sea. I was extremely keen. Badly wanted to be doing something.
Well, naturally you did. What should a young fellow like you do ashore for half a year together? When a man has no wife, he wants to be afloat again.
Yes, well, I had no wife in the Essex.
Then, Captain Wentworth, what came next?
The Laconia.
The Laconia. Find the Laconia.
Those were great days when I had the Laconia.
Here she is. HMS Laconia, 74-gun frigate, second class.
Yeah, a friend and I had a fine cruise off the West Indies in the Laconia, taking enough privateers to make it very entertaining and make us quite rich. Do you remember Captain Harville, Admiral?
Oh,
yeah. Excellent fellow. I wonder what's become of him.
Did not you bring Mrs. Harville and her children round from Portsmouth to Plymouth that spring?
Yes, what of it?
Ah.
I'd bring anything of Harville's from the world's end if he asked me to.
And this from the man famous in the Navy for declaring he will never have a woman on his ship.
What, never? Except for a ball, of course.
It's from no lack of gallantry towards women, Mrs. Musgrove. Rather the reverse. You see, it's impossible to make the accommodation on board ship suitable for a party of ladies.
Why, Frederick, I have lived on 5.
Yes, but Sophie, you were living with your husband, and you were the only woman on board.
But that is not to the purpose. I hate to hear you talking about all women as though they were fine ladies instead of rational creatures. None of us want to be in calm waters all our lives.
When he has a wife, Sophie, he will sing a different tune. When he is married, if we have the good luck to live to another war, we shall see him very grateful to anybody who will bring him his wife.
Oh, no, I haven't done. When once married people begin to attack me with, oh, you shall think very differently when you are married. I can only say, no, I shall not. And then they say again, oh, yes, you shall. And there's an end of it. Mrs. Musgrove.
You must have been a great traveller, ma'am. Well, I have crossed the Atlantic 4 times. And I have been once to the East Indies and to different places around home, Cork and Lisbon and Gibraltar. But I was never in the West Indies. We do not call Bermuda or Bahama the West Indies, Mrs. Musgrove, as you know.
I do not think Mamma's ever called them anything in the whole course of her life.
But did you never suffer any sickness, Mrs. Grove?
No. The only time that I ever imagined myself unwell or had any ideas of danger was the winter that I passed on my own at Deal, when the Admiral, Captain Croft then, was away on the North Seas. That I did not like. But as long as we could be together, nothing ever ailed me. Not a thing.
Oh, I beg your pardon. This is your seat.
Not at all.
No, never. She has quite given up dancing.
Frederick, there you are. Let me introduce you to Miss Anne Elliot. Miss Elliot, my brother, Captain Frederick Wentworth.
Captain Wentworth and I met briefly yesterday.
Oh, Frederick, you might have told me.
This must be very bad for you, Miss Elliot, to come to your home and find us here.
No, not at all, Admiral. I'm happy to know that the house is in such worthy and careful hands.
And what news, Frederick, of dear Captain Harville?
He's settled for now at Lyme with our good friend James Benwick, who's awaiting a new command.
How exciting. Of course. I remember Captain Benwick. He's engaged to Harville's sister.
I'm sorry to have to tell you that she died last summer while Benwick was out at the Cape.
Oh, no. How dreadful.
Yes. 5 years they waited for a fortune to satisfy her family. Now he has it, of course, but too late. Much too late. But then I've never thought that a man on active service should even contemplate marriage.
Have you indeed?
A frigate at wartime is no place for a woman, and the long separations are a sore trial to both parties.
Oh, how true. There is nothing so bad as a separation.
As I know to my cost, for Mr. Musgrove always attends the assizes, and I'm so glad when he's safe home again.
But now I'm paid off on a shore, Sophie, you'll be delighted to hear that I am at last resolved to settle down.
Indeed, Frederick, I am delighted to hear it. Pray, do you have anyone in mind?
No, I'm quite ready to make a foolish match with any woman between 15 and 30. A little beauty, a few smiles, and a compliment to the Navy, and I shall be lost.
Oh, come, Frederick.
After all, what right has a humble sailor to expect any better? But if I am to speak in earnest, what I desire above all in a wife is firmness of character. A woman who knows her own mind. I cannot abide timidity or feebleness of purpose. A weak spirit which is always open to persuasion, first one way and then the other, can never be relied upon.
Well, we must see what we can do.
Something to dance to.
Oh, yes, Anne, will you? Something jolly.
Oh, yes.
No. Captain Wentworth was just telling me how he almost died at sea.
My captain? What made you decide on such a risky profession?
When I first left shore, I was in great need of distraction. For that, the constant threat on my life was useful. In fact, I was in such despair, there were times I almost wished for it.
Would it be too bold to ask the source of such desperation?
A woman.
Well then, her loss.
Now, though, I've had my fill of excitement. I long for absolute boredom to lull me back to myself.
And by that you mean a wife?
Mother.
I mean, people and things I can be quiet with, yes.
Well, who better to be quiet with than a wife?
Mother.
Are you in the market for a wife, boy?
Father. No, you found me out. Here I am, ashore, looking to make a foolish match. Little kindness, strong mind, a few compliments to the Navy, and I'm a lost man. Anyone between the ages of 18 and 80 may have me for the asking. Almost anyone.
Wentworth isn't very gallant to you, Anne. He said you were so altered he hardly recognised you. Don't worry, I stood up for you. I told him about the time that your eye got so infected it swelled shut for a week, and then we all called you Blackbeard. I suppose that isn't really sticking up for you so much as just saying a thing.
Yes, I suppose it was more that.
Please, play for us, Maestro.